Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Get Social Smart show. I'm so excited. My name is Katie Lance, founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting and the Get Social Smart Academy. And we have a really exciting interview in store for you guys today. I'm so thrilled to be chatting with two dear friends, rock stars in the real estate space, Linda Okanowski and Christine George. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, Katie. Great to be here.
I'm so happy to have both of you here with us today. So we're going to have a great conversation about real estate and marketing, and there's some exciting things that you guys are doing with a new company, Zinnia. So we're going to have a conversation about that. I just want to kick off for those of you who are watching live with us. We're streaming this live on Facebook right now. I would love if you would click like, say hi, comment below, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to just do a quick double check and make sure we're actually broadcasting. It's always good to make sure technology is working, and generally it does work well. Let's see. And we're live. Yes. Okay, good.
Yay, I'm actually going to share it.
Yes, feel free to share it out. That's awesome. We will share it out also. And for those of you tuning in, yeah, like I said, feel free to like, comment below, say hi, let us know where you're tuning in from. Feel free to share this out as we get into our conversation today. For those of you who are not familiar with Linda and Christine, Linda is the CEO of Leading Edge Real Estate in the greater Boston area and the CEO of Zinnia. And Christine George is the head of marketing at Leading Edge Real Estate and head of customer experience for Zinnia. So again, ladies, welcome.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks for having us. We appreciate you always, all of the support that you always give to us. We love it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I would love to start, and either one of you can jump in. I know we're going to talk about a lot of different things today. I want to kind of just jump to Zinnia because I have been seeing all the buzz. There's all this buzz that's happening. I've seen, there's an article in Inman, and I've just been seeing some fun press about it. And I would love to know, first of all, what is it? And what's the backstory? How did this happen? And then we can dive into some more fun topics with real estate marketing and all kinds of good stuff.
Well, I think Zinnia was born, the mother of invention is necessity. And we saw a real need in the real estate space for people who were really ready to take their business. They were feeling very entrepreneurial. We've done a great job of growing teams and helping agents grow. And we thought we could take what we've been doing and give it to people outside of our marketplace. And what we're helping people do is, everyone that's ever sold real estate has been sitting in their office thinking, should I run my own brokerage? Could I do a better job? How would I lead? What would be the services I could offer? If that's nagging in the back of your brain, the things that are also nagging is that's going to be a lot of work. Do I really, am I up for it? Boy, I work for a big company. They have a marketing department. They have all this great design. They do all this coaching, and they have all of this great education. And, I've got all of these resources and that I would love to have. And how long would it take me to develop that? Took us 20 years to get it up and running. And now we've packaged it and can give it to anyone. You can literally, if someone were inclined to want to do this or talk to us, open your own brokerage and we can give you a 20-year head start. All the things it takes to develop all of those, all those things that you need. Custom marketing, not some template that you would get. We have a marketing team with real people who will design around your logo, your listing sheets. Education. I know that you've had a chance to see us in action, Katie, over the years. You're an icon of the industry, but we have this quixotic dream that we're going to change the industry because we think differently. We're not thinking like everyone else. You say it all the time on social media. I'm just so tired of all the self-promotional jerks out there. How can you be effective?
Yeah.
Right. Without being, someone that just has to talk about yourself. We all know you're going to be much more successful if you're delivering content that people care about. Right. And that's what we've done on the level that isn't social media, but for listings, for buyers. How can we look at this differently and say, we're thinking about this whole transaction very differently than anyone else? How can we get you at the listing table? Everyone's competing for listings. How can you, I can't say guarantee that you'll win, but you have to stop being like everybody else. You have to be different. So all of those systems that we've developed over the years, I've totally nerded out, we're willing to share, and they work for people.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Katie, we, everything that Linda said, and just to sort of package it, we have an amazing value proposition at Leading Edge. And we know our own statistics show us that agents in our company who adopt our systems and our training grow their transactions 60%. That's a real stat coming out of Leading Edge. And so, essentially what we've done is we've taken our value proposition, which is the education, the systems that Linda just talked about, our entire tech stack, leadership training, and our marketing and design expertise. And we've packaged those into an organization called Zinnia. And that's the service that we're making available to teams, large teams, and small brokerages across the country.
That's so exciting. That's awesome. I will make sure we drop the link below so everyone can check it out. I love the website too. It's so
rebellious.
It's so pretty and rebellious. Yes, I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. So you guys mentioned so many great things there. I would love to kind of unpack this a little bit as far as, especially marketing. There's so many places where people in real estate, professionals in real estate, can spend their money, and everyone's asking for money, and just lots of places for marketing. Do either one of you see, one or two places that you think are really important that an agent or broker should invest in terms of content or marketing or social media? Just would love your thoughts on that.
The first place I think they should invest is with the Katie Lance Get Social Smart Academy. That's
go
first. So I say that in jest, right? But truly, our entire content strategy has come from everything that we've learned from you, Katie, over the last decade that we've been working with you. So for sure, having, an effective digital marketing strategy and social media content strategy is really important. Probably the most valuable thing that we offer, that Zinnia offers from a marketing perspective, is our design capabilities, because the biggest thing that they need is listing collateral. And we provide that for the agents who are Zinnia clients. As well as, custom design for, various things that they might need, but not need all the time, which, some examples might be a buyer guide or a seller guide or an invitation to an event or, a market report, some direct mail pieces, things like that.
Right. Yeah. The design part of it, it's huge. Just having a helping hand with that. And I love that you mentioned some of the kind of quote unquote traditional marketing, but it's still important marketing, right? I mean, I live in the world of social media, so I'm a little biased, but it's not just social media marketing, it's your brand, right? And I think that's one thing I know, Linda, you are so passionate about, and you too, Christine, of course, branding and being consistent, with your brand. I'm sure we could talk all about that, right?
One of the things I want to eliminate is, like I keep saying to agents, stop with the arts and crafts. This is not your expertise, right? We have actual designers who are trained, who have beautiful, sophisticated collateral, because your image is really important in this business. So let us do it, because the things that agents will do on their own, the color schemes, the weird things, they put way too much text in everything. They break all of the rules all the time when left to their own devices. And when you have a staff of people who are trained, who can deliver that social media image you want and turn it around quickly and beautifully and impactfully, that means a lot. And when you ask what to spend your money on, and I'm not a big believer in spending a lot, it's about how you reach out and connect. But so that comes with the training and education. But, people don't want to be schlocky. How can you reach out, right? You don't want to be schlocky.
That's the best word right there, schlocky. That should be like a hashtag.
Yeah. But here's my question. Remember I said I had something up my sleeve for you. So, for example, what you get at Zinnia is we just put together a 17-point plan to get your offer accepted, right? Now, it's full of the goods. We have agents who have collaborated in this big company. We have 14 offices in and around Boston, and said, these are the ways we're getting our offer accepted. Now, I don't want to publish that on social media because the last people I wanted is my competition to have it, right? Because there's a combination of things that really are getting offers accepted. We just had property last week with 75 offers. That's a lot of offers.
Wow.
15 to 35 is norm in our market, and it's a rock fight out there for buyers and their company. So my question to you is, I've got this great white paper, something again that would be available to Zinnia customers, and we're doing this kind of stuff all the time. How do you leak that? How do you leverage something without, you want people to call you? But what would you do with something like that, Katie?
I think that's a really good question because it's, you've got kind of your secret sauce and you don't want to necessarily, share everything. And I can kind of relate because that's sort of how I think about our academy. I feel like when you really want to work with us and you want that experience of our coaching and consulting, you are, you're paying for it. You're a paid member of the academy and we give you the secret sauce. But for someone to understand the value of paying, the value of that, you have to kind of show your value, show what you know, right? And so like one of the things we've done is put out a lot of content, like what we're doing here. We're putting out content on Facebook Live, we put content on our podcast, content on YouTube. And I think it's not just content for the sake of content. It's putting out helpful content, but also adding in a little bit of that secret sauce, like just a little bit where someone would be like, I really like their style. I really like what they have to say. They really know what they're talking about. Like I want to find out more. Right. So it can't just be like this fluffy stuff that we see everywhere. It's like a little bit of fluff, a little bit of meat, right? And your personality too. And maybe even adding in like a story or example or, Christine and I know I've talked a lot about this idea of adding in some storytelling into content too. Yeah. People really resonate with that more than, hey, here's a 6-point list. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. Of the content, just to give people a flavor of how we're thinking differently. One of the, I'd say, presentations that I've done actually all over the world is called The Psychology of Listing. But the story is, I was really good when I was back on the ground. I averaged about 90 listings a year while running the company and being a single mother of 3. That was, I was busy, but I developed systems, to be more effective and efficient all the time. And you want to be there for your clients. You want to be awesome for your clients. But it would be so frustrating to people because agents lose because someone discounts or because, they scare the hell out of them because they want to make them stage. How do you get clients to want to hire you? So I used to play a little game, Katie. Before I went out on a listing, I'm going to have a phone call and I'm going to make them love me on the phone. And I'm going to be so different than anyone else when they call for an opinion of value or for their market analysis, that I'm going to win them over before I even discuss price or the house or, commission, because that's always the big thing. Yeah. And so we've developed these systems of getting inside clients' brains in a way that kind of influences them to make good decisions. First of all, not just the good decision to hire you, but the good decisions, about pricing, the good decisions about, and being willing to pay you because they see your value. And so that's the kind of really different training, because this industry is full of lead generation training and compliance. Everyone who doesn't want to get sued, how can I keep all of my agents out of real estate jail? And then they're trying desperately to make sure that they're getting enough business, but no one's teaching them how to be fantastic at it. And not that we have all the answers, but we are such a collaboration. We are such a test tube. We do weekly meetings with our agents, and we're always getting, there's a feedback loop to improve and make everything we do better in this. And we're in different markets. We're in really high-end luxury markets. We're in more affordable markets. We have agents, all over the state and in New Hampshire, so that we're getting a really great taste on what's going on everywhere that translates. So those are things that we're thinking about. We want to bring people who are open-minded. That's our audience. We're not for everybody, but people who really want to step up their game and think a little bit differently, and really help people. Like, I just don't want, because there's a lot of brokers out there I don't want to help at all.
I love the honesty.
Not interested in helping them,
Right,
but
right.
there are good people out there who want to practice at the highest level and get better and help their clients out. And there's just, we want to open their minds to new ways of doing that.
Yeah, that's great.
And, to piggyback on what you and Linda are talking about, quite honestly, Katie, we have modeled the training piece of Zinnia like you have with the Academy. So, Linda will be essentially the Zinnia Academy, and anybody who is a Zinnia client will have access to, all of this training, all of our systems, all of the checklists, all of the processes, all of the marketing tools via our Academy. So, so it's really exciting. And I think one of the things that you do really well that's you can't get unless you're part of the Academy is the Monday Coffee with Katie's. I mean, having that access to you among the entire community and being able to network with other people who are at that level of social media strategy is a really invaluable part of what the Academy brings, to its members. And essentially, I think, that's what the Zinnia Academy is going to do as well. It's going to provide people that access to Linda's brain, her experience, right? And provide that network of like-minded brokerages across the country. So it's really exciting, really an exciting thing to be bringing to the industry.
Katie, as you built your business, you remember, I need to get to this, I need to get to that. Every agent and broker out there is going, I've been meaning to have an entire system of letters that go out at every point of the transaction. From we're going to meet tomorrow. And by the way, you're going to want to hire the person that gives you the highest price, but that's a mistake because you really want to hire the person who's going to get you the most money. So all of our letters are built in that psychology to the mundane letter of you're having a home inspection tomorrow. You got to make sure we have access to the garage and we can, all those things you need to do. There's a 20-point list of things that homeowners should be aware of before the home inspection. So we've taken the time. It's taken years to develop, and we continually evolve and deal with all of this collateral. So it's updated, so it's fresh, and so that your brain can scale. If you have to be responsible for every conversation with a client along the way, and they don't remember anything, putting it in writing is really important. So there's all these little things that I think people have been meaning to get to that we took the time to get to and provide so that, the whole point of any of this as a business is to be able to provide for your family, for people, for your loved ones, I should say. And you want a life still. So many people are in this, they're doing great financially, but they're burnt out. They begrudge answering the phone and having to talk to people. It's not a happy life, right? Yeah. So how do you find that? In addition to all these things, we do some great team building. So for brokerages or for teams, how do you grow? Everyone gets you all sexy and excited about growing a business. It's going to be so exciting. I'm going to have a team, but no one's teaching the leadership. No one's talking about all the mundane, tedious things that need to happen. And we've outlined that too, because by the way, Katie, I know it's hard for you to believe. We've made a lot of mistakes.
I don't believe it.
We made a ton of mistakes, but I have a friend he's actually an attorney for our office, and he always says there's two types of people: those who have to make all their own mistakes and those who can learn from the mistakes of others. And so in a way, this is how we built it. We were part of a franchise. We didn't even get into that, but we had a big franchise and we were paying a gazillion dollars to our franchise and we weren't getting a lot in return. You know, we had a brand. Sure, we went to conventions. It's probably how we met you, Katie. So it wasn't all wasted. But at the end of the day, we wanted to repurpose that money to things that actually make our agents stronger.
Yeah.
Like day-to-day stuff. So that's the kind of the short history of it.
So I want to ask you, because you mentioned a few things in there, which I think are great, especially this whole idea of quality of life, right? Like I don't think anyone got into business for themselves as an entrepreneur, as a real estate professional, to work 1 million hours a week. But I feel like there's this myth that you have to always be on. It's a go, go, go. Like, so I know you teach that obviously within Zinnia, but is there, maybe a nugget or two that you can kind of speak to on that? Because I would imagine, and those of you watching live, I know there's a lot of you watching live. By the way, if you've not said hi yet, comment below, say hi. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what you think of this conversation so far so we can give you a shout out. I would imagine a lot of folks struggle with that. It's struggle with saying no to things, struggle with, not overcommitting themselves. So what are your thoughts about that?
So everybody wants to grow a team. They all want to scale, but then they won't release and delegate. They get stuck. If you're the one that has to, there's still people taking their own photos and making their own keys. I mean, that is, the $20, $25 an hour work has to be, given to someone else, but they can't relinquish that control. But the reason they can't relinquish the control, Katie, is because they don't have a system in place that someone can follow. And if it's all in your head, you've locked up and nobody can really help you. And how can you hire someone if there's not a checklist of things to do? And that's the frustration, right? So we have all those checklists. We've done all those things. And then I think some people want it, but they don't really want it.
Yeah.
You got to really want it.
Mm-hmm.
It's about taking your hat from being a salesperson to a true entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs, we've all read the E-Myth. If you haven't read the E-Myth, Michael Gerber's E-Myth. Classic, a tutorial on how do you go to the next level. It's a great underpinning for any business. So those are things, think about, do you really want it? Now, are you willing to change? Because agents come into my class all the time. I'm going to get the checklist and things like that, but then they don't. They don't really, or you know what? They want their team to follow the systems.
Mm-hmm.
They won't follow them. It's monkey see, monkey do. If you won't do the checklist in Monday or whatever, or you're
true.
How will they do it?
Yeah.
Leadership, it's so a lot of this comes down to being a great leader. Dealing with people is the other issue. How do you deal with conflict? No one really prepares leaders for the inevitable conflict. How do you build trust? Why is someone going to join your team and be on a 60-40 split with you when they could get an 80-20 split in another agency? Well, there are people who will do that. And why?
Mm-hmm.
You have to find the right people and you have to provide the value and the glue. So those are the kind of things that you need to think about.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, and I think just to kind of go back to what you were talking about earlier about all the different things that you offer with Zinnia, I think it would be really interesting because both of you are such great educators. It would be really fun to see, not to give you more work, but it would be fun to see, some sort of series or some sort of content, just pulling out even just that one nugget that you just shared. Somebody out there needed to hear that, as far as leadership and growth and what that really means. And I feel like this interview is a little bit two-part because in a lot of ways we're talking about a new product, a new company that you guys have created, and we're shining the light on it because it's awesome and there's so many great things. And the other flip side of it is it's interesting, as you mentioned, Linda, kind of the challenge of how do you share something without giving away your secret sauce? Yeah, so, and I love, Christine, you mentioned Coffee with Katie. For those of you who are watching live who aren't part of our academy, this environment, this sort of Facebook Live environment, I do this every week in our academy. And it's funny you mentioned that, Christine, because for a while in our academy, we were doing it kind of sporadically. And it was probably about 2 years ago that we got really consistent with it, just like anything else. And you know, when you can have something that's exclusively for your clients or your customers or you know, the folks you're working with, and you're consistent with it, just like anything else, not surprising, right? That's the name of the game. So
yeah,
yeah,
it is. It absolutely is. And I think that's the biggest challenge, I think, for any of us running a business or a team, is that level of consistency. If you say you're going to do a video once a week, you got to do it. You know, if you say you're going to make 5 calls a day, you got to do it. You know, you're never going to move forward or achieve your goals unless you do things consistently. And I was talking to somebody today who said, who is actually very complimentary of one of our agents, Carrie Dowlin. And he said, you know, Carrie played the long game with us. She built a relationship with us over 10 years before she got a transaction with us. And that's what it's about. It's about, you know, building long-term relationships that happen with consistent communication, consistent touch points over a long period of time. And those are the ones that stick. When Linda talks about the glue, I mean, that's the glue that binds when you know, are willing to play the long game and do it on a consistent basis. It's really important.
So I wanted to point out, Katie, that there actually is no other product on the market like Zinnia. None is even close. There are two companies considered our competitors. That would be Place Inside. They're huge venture capital backed entities. We're bootstrapped, and they're different models. You know, they're definitely for people who aren't for us. If you don't want to be your own broker, you should be at one of those other two companies. But if you want to be your own broker and actually get stuff that isn't templated and customized and these other things we've talked about, and again, we haven't seen anyone else on the market there. So we're really excited. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's awesome. Yeah. So I know we probably have some folks who are listening. You know, a lot of people who tune in are tuning in because, you know, we tend to talk a lot about marketing. I know that's, you know, my bias, but that's also my niche is marketing. And so, you know, because you two are like such awesome minds in the world of marketing, can you share, I don't know, it's just something that you see maybe some of your agents that they're doing that's working really well right now in 2022? You know, we're kind of getting into this kind of post-pandemic, hopefully, world. And so I'm just curious if there's maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 things that you guys see that are really working right now in terms of marketing or social media marketing.
Christine has really led the charge for people remember I said about being a self-promotional jerk? You know, led the charge on being cleaner, being more effective. Less is more. Christine, if you'd like to address that, but I think it's really helped people stand out a lot.
Yeah, well, a lot of what we do, Linda talked about it earlier, is, you know, we're the model for the agents, right? Like, as an organization at Leading Edge, we put out content that is the example, essentially. And so, you know, it's a beautiful marriage because we take the learning from Linda, we break it into little pieces, and we create social media around that. We encourage our agents to then utilize that social media. And the key message point there is take it and use it, but put your own voice behind it.
Yeah.
Put your own spin behind it. Put your own point of view behind it. And that's what I'm really seeing our agents do of late, is to take the content that we provide them and then make it their own. And there's, you know, we're all about original content. We're constantly inviting agents and telling them how important original content is. But in the absence of that, we know the reality is that they want to do it, but they won't always do it or won't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
They're taking a lot of what we're putting out there and they're really making it their own. And I'm really proud of that. I mean,
that's great.
Linda, remind me the 16.98.
I was just going to mention, you want some good, everybody here can use something great in their social media that's really caught fire in our marketplace. So Bright MLS, which is not our MLS, it's down from Washington, D.C. and Philly and New Jersey and West Virginia, did the biggest study on off-market versus on-market.
Mm-hmm.
Came up with, after studying 400 something thousand properties, of which about a quarter of them were off-market, maybe 23%, is that properties that were sold using MLS versus all of this, as far as I'm concerned, total BS, exclusive private marketing, auctions of one stuff, we're selling 16.98% more. That is a stat that everyone on this call, if you want to get more listings, you need to say, don't get talked into these iBuyers. That's an auction of one. Don't get talked into selling to your neighbor. Do not get talked into any of these agents who are saying, listen, well, we have a private group of people who can buy your home, because they're saying to their private group of buyers, by the way, you can get a deal. You won't have to compete. So that's terrible for sellers. It's great for buyers. By the way, buyers want off market. I get it. We support it. But anyone on this call right now can position themselves as a hero in the market, saying, we're going to put everything in. We're going to make sure you get full exposure. And on average, you're going to get 17% more. That's a big.
That's a huge number, especially with the number of offers. And I know, really, especially in the States, just about everyone I've talked to in just about every market, they're experiencing that, just huge numbers over asking and lots of cash buyers in the market and just lots of competition. I mean, it's kind of wild right now. So that is a huge stat. That's awesome. I wanted to just ask a kind of switch gears for a second. I saw a really great question come through from Eddie Campos, who's one of our Get Social Smart ambassadors. He's out in Toledo. And I love this question. He says, do you use blogging as part of your marketing strategy? I love that question. So just curious what your thoughts are about blogging. I feel like people don't talk about blogging as much. I think it's still really relevant. But
I love to write, and I did blog for a while many years ago. Honestly, I did not have the consistency for it. Eddie, if you're doing it, God bless you. I think it's an amazing way to position yourself as a real expert in the market. No, we have not been using it, but I think it does still work. And if you're using a Katie Land strategy to promote it, that's awesome.
I do think, it's a great question, because I think when people think about blogging, they think about, it's writing, it's strictly writing. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of opportunity if you're doing video like this, if you're doing podcasting, you can essentially go to rev.com, get the transcript.
Yeah.
And then even if you don't have a blogging platform, you can put it on LinkedIn as a blog. LinkedIn actually has essentially a blogging platform that you can take your transcript from any video or podcast that you do and put it up there.
Yep.
And, it's just like Katie says, it's another way to repurpose the content that you've already done without having to create something new.
Yeah. We literally just did that this morning. We have podcasts that come out every Friday. And so I'm with you. Like, I used to do a ton of writing, and I still write. It's just different types of writing, right? It's more writing a longer caption on Instagram or on Facebook. So I put that link in the chat. I'm not affiliated with Rev, but we've used it for years. I think it's about $1.50 or so a minute, and you can get it transcribed. And like you said, for any of our videos, we do that for our podcasts, and it's a great way to repurpose and it's also, help if you've got a blog on your site, it helps to kind of be ADA compliant as well. Not everybody's going to want to watch a video. I love with Facebook, like right now I'm live and there's captions. That's a fairly new thing that Facebook's doing. So, which is great. So I love that. So I have one last question. I know we could probably talk on and on and on. Actually, probably not. It's one of my last questions, maybe not the last one, but one of them. I wanted to just ask you both about video, because I know video is not a new conversation. It's been around forever, but do you feel like, because I feel like more and more people are talking about video, like there's this pressure to do reels, to do TikToks, like short form video. Like, are you guys feeling that in your market? And if you are, what kind of advice are you giving your agents? Because I know I'm getting a million questions about video these days.
If I had any advice to give on video, it would be using more video text when you're reaching out to people. I know that personal touch when you're following up from a client meeting, when you're talking
that.
a seller, all the other things I defer to you. You are the queen of that area. But when people have a real face and can see you, or if you've been referred to someone, you can send them a text. If you're trying to get someone's attention, do a 30-second quick video. They'll open it. You will get a much better response than sending a text. That'd be my advice.
That's a great piece of advice. I think sometimes we get caught up in all the fun, trendy stuff that's happening, which I think is important to keep an eye on. But I totally agree with you that like one-to-one, whether it's a text or an email, or you can send video through Facebook Messenger. I mean, just it's such a powerful thing. I totally agree.
Katie, we have one agent who's really been using this consistently, but you know how people say you got to make your calls to your database, you got to call your sphere.
Yeah.
She videos them a quick message. Hey, I was just thinking about you, and I saw online that your cat died. Whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And the way she's connecting with people, the referrals she's getting are better than any phone call that anyone's making. So I feel like that's something that we've really seen work.
And I think that's a great way, if you're afraid of video, to start to get comfortable with it. It's a one, like you said, it's a one-to-one, without like doing a Facebook Live and freaking out because nobody's watching you, or, doing a video and never actually releasing it because you're afraid, you just don't like the way you look or you sound. And that's just a phenomenal way of sort of getting comfortable with it without having to put yourself completely out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. A lot of times video does not have to be public for the whole world to see, that one-to-one. And I also think it goes to like what you mentioned, Linda. I think especially in this day and age right now, like just being a noticer and like noticing what's happening with people, what they're posting on social media, what's going on. Like, I just find I so often that agents are just focused on like, I got to get this posted, I got a new listing or whatever it might be, which of course that's important. But the other piece of that is just noticing what's happening and connecting and engaging. And so I love that example.
Let's just say your new listing is totally overstated. I mean, it is, I think I get turned off. Did you ever? I don't know why people just don't count. You bring the listing up, you get 3 likes. You talk about your cat, or you talk about something new and innovative.
Yeah.
I love the agents who are posting their video or pictures of the weird things they find in houses. I think that is a niche market. In New England, we have some really old, crazy things, but there are weird things everywhere. Like the place I saw recently where 3 different color carpets met in one place. The purple carpet, the green carpet, you don't have to rat anybody out, but that's engaging. So people desperately need to find a new way to say you're in real estate without putting your new listing on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my God. We had Chelsea Pites on the No Like Trust podcast a couple of weeks ago. And she said that was one of her biggest recommendations. She said, tell them you're in real estate without telling them you're in real estate. Like,
I love that.
Right? Like tell the story of the house, tell the story of how you slipped and fell on your way into the house, like whatever it might be. Like there's magic in the mundane is what she said. And it's just so, so true.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so true. Well, you guys have given so many great tips, and I've loved having this conversation about Zinnia. And for folks who are listening, whether you're listening live or maybe they're listening to the recording, where can people go if they want to find out more information about you guys or about Zinnia? What would be the best place to direct people?
So if anybody wants to find out about Zinnia, the website is growwithzinnia.com. And if you're somebody who, I noticed one of your viewers just opened up his own brokerage. I think it was Christopher Smith. Whether it's you or anyone who's looking to break out, we do have a free checklist for everything you need to do to start your own brokerage. So if you go to growwithzinnia.com and just click on the green bar at the top, you can download that checklist.
Nice. We love free. That's awesome.
And taking a page out of your book, I'm going to be speaking at Inman in April, last day, but we're giving away a lot of the goods, the things people want. So I'm taking a page right out of your book, Katie.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Well, I will be at Inman too. I hope to to see you both in person, right? Give some hugs and spend some time in real life. So this has been awesome. Linda, Christine, I'm so grateful for your time and your wisdom. It's so fun to have this conversation. We have to have you back at some point and chat more. There's more stuff to talk about.
There's so much we could actually. If you want the goods, I would do one with the goods. You want the goods? We'll bring the goods.
I love it. Well, big thank you to both of you. Thank you to everyone who tuned in live with us today. We so appreciate it. I'm going to be hopping back in the comments later. I know there's a few comments coming through. We will connect with all of you. And if you are listening to this and you enjoy our conversations, we would love for you to subscribe to our podcast. You can go to katielance.com/podcast. Get subscribed. We will be putting this conversation probably up on YouTube also, so you can check it out there. And definitely connect with Linda and Christine. You can see their website there, growwithzinnia.com. I'm also going to put their Instagram handles up here. No pressure, ladies, but we're going to put their Instagrams up here too. I know we got a lot of folks who are active on Instagram, so you can connect with them over there as well. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.